Good morning, Southwest kids. It is so great to be together again this morning. You remember we haven't gotten far from how important Abraham and Sarah's stories were, but God promised Abraham that his family would be as numerous as the stars. And Abraham's family is very important to us too, because God used Abraham's family to bring Jesus into the world. The grandchildren and great grandchildren of Abraham continued God's plan. So, what was the name? Let's see if y'all know this question. What was the name of the son that God gave Abraham and Sarah? Does anybody remember what the son's name was? Isaac. Yes, right. Good job. All right. And do you remember whom Isaac, Abraham's son, married? Isaac married Rebecca. Yes. All right. And although Rebecca and Isaac loved each other very much, they were very sad because for many years they weren't able to have children. And back in the olden days, if women couldn't have children, they kind of thought that maybe they were cursed or they were being punished by God. However, Isaac trusted God to keep his promise. And after he prayed to God, Isaac and Rebecca found out that they were going to have twins. Oh goodness, twins. That is awesome, isn't it? 2 at 1, for a 2 for 1. Rebecca soon was seeking God's help too. And she was so miserable in her pregnancy because the 2 little boys that were inside of her were tumbling and wrestling inside of her. And she asked God, why is this happening to me? Why is this going on? And God told her there were 2 nations in her womb. One nation would be stronger than the other, and the older would serve the younger. Sure enough, a few months later, Rebecca gave birth to 2 bouncing baby boys. The first boy was named Esau, which means hairy. Would you like for your name to be that? When we said your name, we would come up with maybe bad hair, or maybe your name means walks funny. Anyway, his name meant to be hairy. He was very hairy and he was reddish. His brother was born clutching on to Esau's heel. He wanted to be the firstborn from the beginning, didn't he? He was trying to be first, but he couldn't. So he was just grabbing at his brother's heel as he was coming out, as he was being born. And his name is Jacob, which they say means heel. But the twins grew up, but they were very different. Esau was very active and became an expert hunter and an outdoorsman. He loved being outside. And Jacob was calm and quiet, and he preferred to stay close to his family and stay close to the tents. Today, we might say, just to compare, one may like to play sports outside, and the other one may like to stay inside and maybe play the piano or do homework or something like that. Not that either one of them couldn't do either one, but maybe your brother likes to hunt, and then you like to stay in and play. So it would just be like that, just like you have your differences with your brothers and sisters. But parents should love each of their children for each of their unique abilities and talents. Good parents should probably never favor one over another child. But you know what? Foolishly, Isaac and Rebecca, they chose a favorite child. And Isaac loved Esau way more than he liked Jacob, and Rebecca loved Jacob better than Esau. One day, Jacob was cooking some stew when Esau came in from hunting. Jacob should have gladly and unselfishly offered his brother some delicious soup. Wouldn't you do that if your brother or sister came in and they were starved clear to death, and you would say, "Oh, here, eat this," you know? But both of the brothers made very foolish decisions that day, and that influenced them for the rest of their lives. Jacob sneakily told Esau that he could have some stew if Esau would give Jacob his birthright. The birthright always usually went to the oldest son, giving him leadership of the family and usually a double inheritance. He got double the money that everybody else did. Esau should have never agreed to trade his birthright, his family leadership, and his double portion of inheritance for a bowl of stew. Okay? That just wasn't very smart, was it? But he did. And Esau didn't think through that decision very well, did he? Jacob not only tricked his brother out of his birthright, but he also deceived his dad, Isaac, as well. When Isaac was so old and he couldn't see good, and he knew he was getting ready to die, he wanted to give his blessing. They always gave the oldest son the blessing, and he wanted to give his blessing to Esau. A blessing was a wonderful gift, a prophecy about what would happen in that child's life. And once a blessing was given, however, it could never be taken back. Rebekah made a hateful plan. She was so mean, and she deceived her husband. She told Jacob to pretend that he was hairy. And Esau, she helped him cover his arms, and she helped him cover his neck with goat's hair so that Isaac would be fooled into thinking that Jacob was Esau. Do you remember what God said long ago when those twins were born? Which brother would serve the other? We read it just a little ways back. Yes. The older brother would serve the younger. And although God didn't want Jacob and Rebekah to lie to Isaac, it was part of God's plan for Jacob, the younger son, to be the leader of the family. And as you can imagine, Esau was mad, and he wanted to kill Jacob because Jacob got the father's blessing and he had his birthright. So Jacob had to run away, and Jacob ran away and went to Rebekah's family, clear over in Haran. And while he was traveling, God gave Jacob a message in a dream, and that is in Genesis 28:10 through 22. And it said, Jacob left Beersheba and set out for Haran. When he reached a certain place, he stopped for the night because the sun had set. Taking one of the stones there, he put it under his head and lay down to sleep. He had a dream in which he saw stairways resting on earth with its top reaching to heaven, and the angels of God were ascending and descending on it. There above it stood the Lord, and he said, I am the Lord, the God of your father Abraham and the God of Isaac. I will give you and your descendants the land on which you are lying. Your descendants will be like the dust of the earth, and you will spread out to the west and to the east and to the north and to the south, and all peoples of earth will be blessed through you and your offspring. I am with you, and I will watch over you, and wherever you go, I will bring you back to this land. I will not leave you until I am done, and I have done what I have promised you. When Jacob awoke from his sleep, he thought, surely the Lord is in this place, and I am aware of it. And I was not aware of it. He was afraid and said, how awesome is this place? This is none other than the house of God, and this is the gate of heaven. Early the next morning, Jacob took the stone he had placed under his head and set it up as a pillar and poured oil on top of it. He called that place Bethel, though the city used to be called Luz. Then Jacob made a vow, saying, if God will be with me and watch over me on this journey I'm taking, I will and will give me food to eat and clothes to wear so that I return safely to my father's house, then the Lord will be my God. This stone I have set up as a pillar will be God's house, and all that you give me, I will give you a tenth. Okay, so that was a neat promise that God had given Jacob. All right, and then if you keep reading, if you keep on going down, which we're not going to read all of it, but you can read it on your own. It's Genesis 29. It's just the very next chapter. It said how deeply Jacob must have loved Rachel. So Jacob went to Haran with Rebekah's family, and that's where Jacob met Rachel. And Jacob must have loved Rachel to work for 7 long years to marry her. After even Laban tricked him into marrying Leah, Jacob was then able to marry Rachel. But he had to work another 7 years for it. It was no secret that Jacob loved Rachel and not Leah. God had compassion on poor Leah and allowed her to have 6 sons and 1 daughter. Jacob also had 4 sons with his 2 wives and maidservants. Finally, after many years, Jacob and Rachel had 2 sons. Jacob became homesick after so many years being away from his family. He had learned to trust in God and knew that God would bless his descendants. He decided to go home and to make peace with his brother Esau, and who had forgiven him also for his deceit. So the story of Jacob and Esau's family is really a story about your family too. God's plan used Abraham, Sarah, Isaac, Rebekah, Esau, Jacob, Rachel, and Jacob's 12 sons to create a huge family. A family that would one day include God's Son, Jesus. And if you love and obey Jesus, you are part of God's family as well. You are part of God's plan. All right, and so now just to help us remind us about being a part of such a great family of God, we're going to make a family line in from a piece of paper. So everybody go get you a piece of paper, and we're going to do this. And get you a pair of scissors too. Piece of paper and a pair of scissors. Okay.
Oh, hey, hi there. Okay, we are going to do a little project with a piece of paper, and you're going to be able to hear me, but you're not going to be able to see me because I want you to be able to see the piece of paper and how to do this. So, okay, so I just took a long piece of paper and I cut it, or I put it into 3, folded it into 3 so I could cut it into a long strip, okay? So you just need a long strip of paper. All right, the next step, what you're going to do is you're going to just fold it in half, and then you're going to fold it in half again, and then you're going to fold it one more time. And it doesn't matter if you go pull it towards you, pull it, it doesn't matter, because we're going to undo it, okay? And then you're going to, this part matters. So the first one you'll do over the top, and then you'll come back. And the reason, you'll just see where the creases are. That's where we just got creases on there. Okay, and so you'll just go back and forth, making your creases. Okay? All right, so it's all lined up. Just kind of make it stiff and make good creases there on there. Okay, get your pair of scissors. And you want to start either end, it doesn't matter. And I just did like a triangle kind of up just a little ways. Okay, and you go all the way through.
All right, take that part off. All right, so I've got a little triangle, and that's the legs, okay? And then I came about halfway up, and I just went straight across, in just a little ways, okay? Straight across. And then I did another straight across, just about the same length as our bottom here. All right. And then I cut a triangle from down at the bottom by the feet up towards the first cut I did. Okay, and then I take that off. All right, and so this side you do the same thing. You're gonna cut it, okay, and cut it. All right, and then cut your triangle from the corner. Okay, all right, so that's what we got so far. All right, and then I just kind of went ahead and trimmed like a round part, like this was gonna be the head, but I just went ahead and kind of trimmed it up. All right, and so then I kind of went ahead, since I cut that part off, I could see it a little bit better. I went ahead and just kind of cut another little triangle out going towards the arms. Cut that out. Okay, and then cut this one out. You have to cut it a little bit more so it will come out without cutting all the way through. Okay, all right, and yep, you can just trim that up, make it a little more round head. Okay, then you can undo it, and look what you've got. You've got a paper doll family, okay? All right, you guys are awesome, and you are children of God and part of God's family.
All right, see you later.